Hi, and welcome to one of the most impressive landscapes that you're going to find in Patagonia, and it's called Torres del Paine. If you haven't heard of this place before, then you should for sure turn on the video and watch all of the photos that I'm going to be showing you while talking on this podcast, because this will be a place that will leave you breathless in every way, literally. First, because it has a very immense beauty, but second, because of the physical effort that it will require to get there. So, well, Torres del Paine is not just the typical photo that appears on Google when you search for it or the one that I'm showing you. The truth is that this is going to be a big national park, like Banff, Yosemite, or any of those. But what happens is that the view that all of the photos show you is going to be the one for the most famous hike. And today I'm going to talk about all of that, about this hike, and about other possible hikes that you can do when you visit Torres del Paine. But I'll start by explaining more about this national park because, first, it's the most famous national park in Chile. It's located in the Magallanes region in the Chilean Patagonia, and it's a giant park. It is a biosphere reserve declared by the UNESCO, and it is not hard to understand why, because over here you'll find a combination of glaciers, turquoise lakes, forests, pampas, mighty rivers, and of course, the iconic granite towers that will give the park all of its name. Before we get into all of the hikes and activities that you can do, I'll start with all of the logistical details. So, how would you get to Torres del Paine? Well, to visit Torres del Paine, you have to fly to Punta Arenas, which is a city with a big airport that will receive daily flights from Santiago. And once you arrive to Punta Arenas, from Punta Arenas, you will take a bus into Puerto Natales, and this one will take approximately 3 hours. And my advice is going to be staying overnight in Puerto Natales and from there going into the park. Staying in Puerto Natales might save you a lot of money, and it may also be very comfortable because in Puerto Natales you'll have hotels, you'll have infrastructure, you'll have restaurants. So it will be kind of like a more luxurious experience than if you're actually inside the park for the same price. So when I went, I stayed in Puerto Natales actually every night. I stayed 3 nights. And although I had to spend some time in transportation, it was cheaper than staying on the inside. It was also more comfortable. But for example, if you want to do sunrise hikes, then of course you're going to have to stay overnight in all of the refugios that you'll find inside the park because there's no way that you can drive and then get there and with enough time to do a sunrise hike. Okay, the second question that's popular is how long should you visit? Normally, most tourists will only go to Torres del Paine for 2 or 3 days because when you buy your basic entrance ticket, this one is going to allow you to go to the park for a maximum of 3 days. It doesn't matter if you only go one day or if you go 2 days in and out, it doesn't matter. You can buy that ticket and you'll be able to go 3 days through any entrance. It doesn't matter how many times you're going in or out, it will be valid. So, this is the main recommendation, but if you want to stay more than 3 days, you will have to buy another type of ticket, and this one's going to be the one that you will need if you want to do longer circuits like the O circuit or the W circuit that I'll explain later. The price for tickets for foreigners as of the date that I'm recording this episode is going to be for the basic ticket, $34 if you're over 18, and for the one with more days, it's going to be $50 for everyone, 18 or older or younger. You can buy them in advance at the link that I'm going to drop in the comments, so in case you want to plan all of the things out, you could check this out. Another important question is when to visit. And I have said this several times, but if you're doing trekking, dates will matter a lot. And also, the hikes over here are not going to be easy. So that's why, even though December through February is going to be the busiest time, I chose early December, but you can do also March, November. Any of these days where weather will be stable are, of course, going to be the best. If you want to go hiking, what I want you to keep in mind is that from mid April to mid September, many of the routes are going to be closed for the winter. So don't even think about visiting during these dates because you're going to kind of waste your trip and it won't be as good as it could have been in other dates. And now, for the most important thing of the episode, what routes can you take? Which trekkings can you do while you're over there? I'm going to talk about the four most popular ones, which are going to be Base Torres trekking. This one will only last a day and it's hard. Porteria Sarmiento trek. This one will also last a day, but it's going to be easy. The W circuit, and this one can last 4 to 5 days. And the O circuit, which is going to last for 7 to 9 days. Since I didn't have many days, I only did the first two trekkings that I just mentioned, Base Torres trek and Porteria Sarmiento trek, but I looked information about the O and the W circuits because the landscapes when I visited seemed so surreal that I definitely want to go back to this. And I want to do one of these two trails in the future. And when I do, I'll tell you about it. I'll also record my experience. But for now, I can only tell you all the things that I have researched. So the W circuit is going to be the most popular route in the park. And it's going to get its name because of the shape of the circuit that you're taking. It will connect three main valleys. So basically, you're doing like a W, like this, hiking up and down the valleys. And you're going to go to the Ascencio Valley, which is going to be the one for Base Torres. You'll also do the French Valley and you'll do the Gray Glacier. And this can be done from east to west or vice versa. And you can sleep in the refugios or in the campsites that they're going to have. The O circuit, on the other hand, is going to be like an extension of the W that will go around the entire Paine Massif. It's much more demanding. It has a lot more like solitary sections, so it's not going to be as crowded. But it can only be done clockwise, and it requires very good physical conditions and advanced reservations. So the summary would be the O circuit is longer, more complete, and it will cover the entire park, while the W circuit will be shorter and it will focus on the most emblematic points of the park. According to what I read, the O circuit is going to be like 120 kilometers, so this is going to be quite challenging. And also, it's going to be a tour of the entire park. So if you want the most complete one, this would be it. But if you just want good views and not something extremely hard and just medium difficulty, then the W would be better. Now, the ones that I did, the one-day trips, are going to be probably the most popular ones because they are short and they have also incredible views. The first one, and this is the one you cannot miss, is going to be Base Torres Trek. But be careful because this one's going to be difficult. So if you don't have physical condition, you have to train before doing this because this will be considered a medium-high difficulty. It's going to be 24 kilometers in a single day, which will take about 9 to 10 hours depending on your pace. And this route is going to be mainly difficult because of the last kilometer that will get you up to these towers, which is going to be quite steep. And on this last kilometer alone, you can take about an hour. So total elevation of this trek is going to be around 850 meters, which is going to be a lot. And this is going to mean also that going down, it will hurt a lot and your legs will be sore. With all of that disclaimer, though, I 100% believe that it's worth it. And these are going to be truly incredible views, probably some of the most spectacular on the entire continent. The trail is going to begin in the Ascencio River Valley, where you can cross a suspension bridge and you're going to climb a fairly steep initial slope, all in about an hour and a half. Afterwards, you're going to reach some areas that have lesser inclination and they have vegetation that will take you down to the Paso de los Vientos, as it's called. And from here, you will make an approximately 30-minute descent into Refugio Chileno for a short break. And this refuge surprised me a lot because I wasn't expecting a place where they would sell like coffee, snacks. They have bathrooms for people who are buying. You can also recharge your water. So there's a lot of infrastructure. And a very useful tip that I learned is that I didn't need to carry that much water because I could refill over here. So don't worry about carrying like 2 liters on your bag. It won't be worth it. But okay, after you recharged and eat a little bit, you're going to continue the journey for about 1 hour through a lenga forest that's going to go parallel to the Ascencio River. And the last section is going to have a slope of 300 meters with challenging terrain that has rocks and some forest in the first 25 minutes. And then this is where it's going to get difficult because here you'll get the climb to the moraine. And before starting this part, you're going to see a sign. It's very clear and it says like, this will be high difficulty. It's going to last approximately 1 hour. It has rocks, it has loose stones, it is demanding, blah, blah, blah. But after here, you can get all of your energy and just hike up because every step is going to be worth it. When you get to the viewpoint, this turquoise lake and the three towers are going to open up for you, and now you'll understand why the park is named after these towers. And seeing them so close with this blue waters is going to be a very emotional experience. And when you'll get there, you'll be like in pure awe. I just sat there, had a sandwich for lunch, and then of course, it started the return trip. And the return trip, I always find it a bit more demotivating because now you're not looking forward to the views, you're looking forward to the car, which is going to be the most beautiful view once you're back. But for this return, my advice would be trekking poles. These are going to be essential for me. I love trekking poles and they seem like the best invention ever made. But here they're going to be specially necessary for the steep descent because otherwise your knees will be hurting for probably a week. It's very steep. So, highly, highly recommended. And you'll go back the same way that you went up. One small thing that I did this trek with a tour. So I took a guided tour. I had some guides that were accompanying me and my family along the way. But you could also do it by yourself. So you don't need a guide. And technically, you'll see where the path goes. So it's going to be relatively easy. It's just that I don't feel very comfortable doing all of this hard trekkings by myself. Just in case something happens, I would rather have someone that I know can help me. Or in case I get lost, if it starts getting dark, I also like being with someone that knows this area. But again, here, your choice. You can do it with or without a tour. On my second day, I did the other hike, which is the Porteria Sarmiento one. And this one, I do recommend it a lot. And it's going to be less visited. And when I went, literally, we were the only group doing it. And I don't understand if it's that nobody knows about this, but it's a very short, very easy, very panoramic view. And it's going to be where you see the most animals. It has everything, basically. And the duration of this one is only going to be 2 hours. But if you enjoy the path and you're making stops and so on, maybe you could extend it a little bit. The route is only going to be 3 kilometers. It's a very short hike. And it's the perfect hike after you did the Base Torres one because you are going to get home very sore and exhausted from that one. So this one will be like a rest, but with incredible landscapes. This one, however, will require you to always go with a guide. You cannot do it on your own. And this one is for the simple reason that pumas are seen in this route. So in Chile, they protect a lot the fauna and the tourists as well a lot. So you should go with someone that's trained and who knows how to act in case a puma gets close. But according to my guide, that never happens. Like if you happen to spot a puma, it's going to be very far in the distance. Either way, you have to do it with a guide. And I hope that you'll be able to spot pumas when you're there. But if not, you'll be able to see a lot of other animals like guanacos, which are a very typical animal from Patagonia. The trail is going to border the Lake Sarmiento, and that's why it's called a Trek Sarmiento or Porteria Sarmiento. But it's going to be famous because it has stromatolite formations, which are unique calcareous structures that are formed by the action of microorganisms. So, yes, basically it's going to be like walking among living fossils. And the most beautiful thing about this hike is that you have very open views of the Patagonian landscape. So you'll see the lake, you'll see the pampas, you'll see the background, you'll see the snowy peaks of the towers. It will be a very good place to enjoy and relax, and it will consist of basically walking an hour to get to some caves where the first indigenous populations lived. Over here, you'll be able to see some cave paintings that have more than 6,000 years. And then you're going to continue walking for another 30 minutes with a frontal view of Paine Cordillera towards a lake that's called Laguna Blanquillos, and then the trek will end in Laguna Amarga. The main access to Torres del Paine National Park is going to be on this place. And from there, after I finished with my guide, then we went into the car and we visited another place of the park, which was called the Paine Waterfall. And this day was very quiet, very beautiful, not very touristy. So I think it complements very well the Base Torres. And then my last alternative is for those who decide to stay a third day or for those who have mobility restrictions, because I want to emphasize over here that not everything that you want to see in the park has to be seen through trekkings. You could also visit the park and do a car tour if you have any restrictions on your mobility. And for example, my 85-year-old grandma went on this trip with us and she did a car tour of the park while I was doing the trekking, for example. And she loved the car ride because she had a lot of views of lakes, waterfalls, and towers without even having to hike or walk around. So according to what she told me, I think she even visited more places than I did because she went to viewpoints of Lake Nordenskjold, Lake Salto Grande viewpoint. She also went to the Peoe viewpoint, the Weber Bridge, the Pine River, and the Lake Gray viewpoint. From there, she also saw the immense Toro Lake and a part of the Gray Glacier. And by the end, she also visited the Cueva del Milodon Natural Monument, which is the second most visited protected area right after Torres del Paine Natural Park in the Magallanes region. So, as you can see, I think my grandmother saw even more lakes than I did, and everything from the road. So, if you decide to stay a third day, I would recommend doing this tour since the standard entrance fee is going to include 3 days in the park. Or just if you have mobility restrictions, you could take this instead of doing the other things. But there you have it, a very complete guide to visit Torres del Paine National Park in 3 days. I will be owing you the episode of the O or the W circuit, but I hope to visit it soon and record an episode about this amazing hike. If you liked my episode, please share it with someone else who wants to visit Torres del Paine and visit Patagonia. Give me a review and tell me, would you dare to climb the Base Torres? Or would you prefer doing a more relaxed tour of lakes and viewpoints? In my next episode, I'm also going to continue exploring Patagonia, so stay tuned because now we're going to go and visit the Argentinian side. Have a good trip